yesterday, as I told you, I had 2 video shoots, and there was a lot of planning going on. And I was at a point a couple of days ago, 3 days ago or so, where I was so annoyed. I was like, this is the I don't know. I couldn't find words to express how bad I felt.
Yeah.
And how pissed off actually, and all these feelings that you don't want to feel. These moments pop up again and again, and these are the most valuable in retrospect, always, to me. And for me, the biggest not challenge, that sounds so negative, chance to learn actually, is to be aware in these moments and to not go into the negative things too deeply, like to keep that distance where you can see, okay, all this stuff is going on, but I can still be happy.
She's the mother, the source, the yearning, the force, the passion, the hope, feminine glow, fiery laughter, you can't ever grasp her, endless flow of devotion. She's dancing. Hey, hey, hey.
Welcome to the Musician Secrets podcast. Today, I have an amazing guest with me today that I'm so excited to introduce because she has amazing music that I can't wait to show you guys. So she is a singer-songwriter and a producer as well. She does also like vocal loops on Instagram, which I thought was really cool and very interesting. So I can't wait to learn more. But everyone, please welcome Leona Berlin. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited because I truly just love your music, from like just the new single that you brought out, High Life, right? Featuring Cedric Berry, I think, right?
Cedric Berry, yeah.
Amazing. I had that song stuck in my head for days.
That's the best one.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then I think like Feminine Energy, that's like my jam right now. Feminine Energy. So, but you have a lot of amazing singles out there. But we're about to talk about something really cool, which is your new album that's coming out hopefully soon. Yeah. But before we dive into all of that, just introduce yourself for people that don't know who you are. Take us back pretty much to the beginning, what got you into music in the first place, and then the music journey into where you are now, because that's always fascinating, I think.
Yeah, wow. It's a long story actually, but everyone would say that probably.
Everyone, yeah. It's always
yeah. So I would say my music is alternative R&B. It's like an R&B with a little bit of jazz and hip hop influence. And I'm a singer and producer, and I live in Berlin. I got here to this point in my life because I was interested in music all the time, actually, from the early childhood. And then I had certain influences that got me deeper into music, and like singing along Alicia Keys when I was 13, and like discovering Erykah Badu when I was about like 16, and that opened up a whole new world for me. And then I finally, when I was 19 or like 18, I decided to study music. I wanted to try that, so I did that. And during my studies, I was writing and producing a lot. Basically, I started producing when I'm like in my teens. I was so interested in just, getting my ideas out there. I had like so many ideas. I wanted to not just write the vocals, write the lyrics and like sing, but I wanted to create the sounds and the chords and the beats and everything.
Yeah.
So I got to, deepen that while my studies.
Yeah.
And then I was signed by Warner for my first album when I was still studying.
Yeah.
Then I moved to Berlin at some point, And yeah, I released my first album in 2018. And now I've released a couple of singles and worked on my second album for a while now, and it's just ahead. So I mean like it's
about to come, yeah, in the next
about to come, yeah.
come out.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
or whenever this interview is going to be released.
We all know how it goes. It always gets moved back and moved back and moved back. You know, it's just
right.
That's just life for you. Or I think the creative space, it always gets like moved back even more. You know, I don't know. At least for me, that's always nothing goes as planned. You're always like, okay, this is gonna happen. Then something does, like, I'm used to changing things on the fly and last minute and
all the time. It's like, to me, it sometimes feel like I can plan as much like additional space as I want.
Yeah,
it's always like too little. But it's, it's part of the process, maybe.
Yeah, no, it's fun. I like it because I don't know, it just keeps you on your toes, and you're just always, going with, not going with the flow, because you have a goal, but however you reach it doesn't matter, as long as you get there. At the end of the day, you're like, okay.
Yeah, true.
I'm flexible with how we're gonna get there, as long as we're getting there, so that, I think, that's the most important part. Yeah, but you're actually releasing this one independently, right? That's what we just
right. Like for 2.5 years or so, I'm independent and just doing my own thing, have total freedom about the music and about the process. And of course, that's been a really good learning process. That time, like, when I was with Warner, I learned a lot in terms of how I would do things differently, and what kind of things work, what kind of things don't work, for me at least. And that gave me a good starting point for just being my own label. I mean, I didn't found a label yet, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting, because it's always this like signed, not signed kind of thing. And I mean, you see a lot of musicians do really well independently. Is there, what would you say are like the pros and cons from like being signed and going independent? Like, what's really the difference? Because I think a lot of people, or a lot of musicians that are listening right now, are like, oh, I want to be signed, or I want to go independent only. So I think you have a really good point of view to be like, you know what, this is actually good about being signed, this doesn't work, this is good about being independent. Can you, for everyone that's listening, to be like, okay, this is the reality, no fluff, this is how it is.
The thing is, I can't really say that, I can't really say, okay, that's a reality, because people make so different experiences. So I don't know. I can only speak from myself, from my own experience.
Your reality.
And in my reality, I mean, that deal I signed right there, it was a really good deal. Because I had a really good lawyer. That's so important.
Yes.
If you deal, that's the most important thing, actually. So I had the right to say, like, to have the last go before,
like the last call, and be like, okay, this is how we're doing it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So nothing would be happening.
Like, they needed your consent for that, right? They had to get your consent on everything.
Yeah, and that made things more difficult sometimes, because I had a really strong view on what I was going to do.
Yeah.
But then on the other side, there were the people who gave the money, of course, and they wanted to say something as well, or influence it as well. And yeah, you know, there was this constant balance, or it sometimes felt like a fight, definitely, between like, okay, here's what I want to do, and then I have to convince the other party, so to speak, of why this is good to do it like that.
Yeah.
There would be a downside, definitely. But you know, I don't know, for me personally, things always have a value if you can learn something from it. And in that case, I learned how to communicate better, how to, like, you know, get people involved, but still like having the main focus, like not pleasing everybody, but still not pissing them off.
Yeah. Finding that balance. Yeah.
That's a balance. And then, of course, it depends on which deal, of course, but in my case, I had a lot of possibilities financially, so I didn't decide on about that. So I had to speak to people every time. Every time when the question was like, who is gonna play the keys on that song, blah blah blah. I had to talk to people, but when I could like convince them that that's a good decision, I had more financial freedoms, of course. So I could get really good people for my first album. And yeah, I don't know, the downside definitely is, that you spend a lot of time communicating and just like not doing things you actually have to do to get an album done.
Yeah.
It was really exhausting sometimes. I just try to focus what are really the downsides versus the upsides of a deal. I mean, in general, I feel like it's been a really great learning experience for me. But I'm really happy as it is right now. Because I just can, can decide how I want to spend my money, what's the priorities. I have total freedom in how I do my music. And one of the best things for me in like being independent is that I learned so much about management, like just self-management, day-to-day basis.
Well, because you kind of have to do it.
I mean, every creative person knows this, and that it's sometimes a challenge. I mean, you as well, probably. And if you have no structure from outside, you have to create your own structure, and it's like, okay, can be so hard sometimes, but to me, it's a really great skill once you start to master it. So I mean, to conclude this, I would say it really depends on what kind of personality someone is. Because the label option, it has more structure. And the independent option is basically more freedom, but also like all the responsibility.
Exactly.
But then that's again relative, because I made a mistake when I was signed back then, that I thought, okay, I can I'm in this deal right now, and the people I'm signed with are going to take responsibility for my project. And they do, but only to a certain extent. And if you if you give up the driver's seat on your own career, it's not a good decision, so I had to just learn that before I knew, basically.
I mean, it's kind of, nobody's gonna care as much as you do, right? That's always like the saying, right?
Totally.
that for them
Yeah,
it's kind of like more of a job. So they're like, but for you, it's like, it's your name, it's your brand, it's you on stage, and you have to represent all of that. And if, you know, it's not kind of aligned with your vision and who you are and what you want to do, I think that's where the crash kind of happens between like you and the label, you know. So I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's yeah, it's just nobody knows what exactly you want.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, I guess. Everybody has an image in their heads, but it's just not the exact same image you have of yourself or a vision you have of yourself as an artist.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Would you say because I think you have a really strong like visual image, like also from your branding hair, your branding, like your hair. I just brought the two together.
Yeah, my branding hair.
You know, it's always like it's your trademark Markenzeichen, right? It's like your tower bun, right? Looks really cool. Obviously you have it on today. You know, is that something that you brought in from like being signed experience, or is that something then that you created later on, or is that something you worked on specifically with the label that you just kind of took over?
No, that was actually really difficult because when I was signed, I had I didn't have as clear of a vision I have right now. And that made it more difficult to communicate because I always knew what I wanted, but it was really hard for me to communicate what I actually wanted. And like it was hard for me not to just communicate it, but even to point the finger at it for myself in my own mind, actually, to what is the, you know, the gist of it. And that took a long time, actually. So I think that's another point, of course. If you're signed with a label and you know all that, and it's crystal clear what you are about as an artist, I think it's easier to communicate and to like sort out, like, if it makes sense, like in general, if it makes sense to go with the deal or not. Yeah, but that's definitely that developed. It took a really long time to I think this kind of hairstyle I started, like, I don't know, to do it all the time. I started like 2 years ago or so. And before it was a little bit different all the time.
Because right now it seems like you have a really clear vision, everything is cohesive, everything's on brand with the music that you're putting out now, with the, you know, everything with your website, with you, it just seems like you have this really clear vision of where you want to go and everything. I think that's the hardest part to figure out, but when you do, I think it's like the first domino effect, that when you figure that out, you know what your album cover is going to look like, you know what your Instagram feed is going to look like, your website, your music videos, and everything else. Like, it kind of clears the air for everything else, and that's what it feels like with you. Like, if I go on your YouTube channel or on Instagram or your website or watch your videos or whatever it is, it just all feels on brand and like cohesive. So that's why I asked.
That's amazing. Thank you. No, that's really cool, because that's a great feedback that I didn't feel like that 3 years ago. I felt like, okay, it's so difficult to, like, I don't know, to create this cohesive image. And and also, I don't know, it's different for different artists, of course, but I'm that kind of person. I don't want to create an image as an artist that's not really me. So it was kind of a search about, like, who am I, and what's the what part of myself is the artist part, and how will I express that to make it tangible for people. And I'm still working on that. It's like, major, topic.
You can well, that's a good point, really, because I think a lot of people go very extreme. They either go full out like on this is me and bam, here I am, and they don't really have a private life anymore. They just share everything, like they just overshare. Right? And then you have people that don't share any personal stuff, right? It's just all just the music speaks for itself and kind of like that. And I like following you on Instagram for the reason that you seem human. Just because I feel like you're letting me in. You're not oversharing. You're not like flooding me with all this information that but just, and I'm actually going to pick out a few things that you actually shared on Instagram that I thought was really helpful and really valuable. And the one thing that I got from your website and I thought was really cool, and I think that kind of captures who you are as an artist, and that's why I personally fell in love with your music, fell in love with who you are as a person. And that's what then made me want to reach out, because I'm like, this is a sincere person that really loves music and wants to just help everyone. And so you said, my top priority is to be authentic without having to fit in a box. I would like to give an example of how authenticity is needed and demanded, especially in today's media superficiality. And I think that just sums you up really nicely.
Thank you so much. That's really that's a really important point for me. And at the same time, it's also a limitation kind of, because me being authentic is like, it's not really catering to what's successful on social media today and nowadays. This oversharing, that's working really well. That's my impression. And it's social media is a very, very interesting topic anyways. I really love that you said you have to it feels to you like I'm letting you in. Because sometimes, or in the past, I've heard people say, you seem too cold, like to share more of your personal stuff. And for me, it's like, yes, there has to be some personal aspects, of course, but I don't want to. I don't know. If people want to post their lunch, it's cool. It's cool with me, but I don't feel like that's contributing.
Contributing.
People's lives. If I share what I'm eating for lunch, it's like, why would I do that? But at the same time, if people do that, I don't judge them. I just don't feel like that. And but that also gives me the feeling of like constantly doing too little on social media. So it's always like, okay, I could do a little bit more. I couldn't decide.
You were indecisive.
Exactly. Whether I was going to use TikTok or not, because it makes sense in terms of presence,
music.
Just getting my name out there and so on. But on the other hand, it's so time consuming. And that's I feel like many people think about that or view that topic differently for the last 2 years maybe, because people start to realize that it's taking up so much energy and so much time, and it doesn't leave you with more, like, I personally don't feel I'm more fulfilled after. And also it's, if you're constantly checking for likes and views and stuff, just doesn't feel good. So that's social media, and this whole topic is actually some kind of topic I haven't really solved in my mind, because actually I wouldn't be there at all.
Same.
If they're in a position.
Yeah.
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 So it's hard to find a compromise of like being there and doing the thing and sharing stuff, but then also finding that's I don't know, that line.
Yeah. I mean, you're preaching to the choir here. I'm like the worst social media person you could probably. I'm so bad. Like, I'll post something every once in a while. I should do way better, and I will. That's like my goal that I need to like focus on. But for me, I'm just not a social media person. I think some people they just kind of gravitate to that social media, to that they just, for them it's fun, but for me it's work. And I think that's why, we just, my husband and I we never really take pictures, because when we're with each other, we're present. 90% of the time I don't even know where my phone is. And and my friends know, and my family know, if it's important, call me. Don't write me on Instagram or whatnot, because it'll take a couple of days until I get back to you. But it's because I just don't care about stuff like that. And yeah, but again, when you're kind of in the music space, you need it. So I'm in the same kind of battle with myself to kind of, okay, like, how much do I share? How often do I share? What do I share? What, and stuff like that. It's a fine line. I totally understand.
Yeah, and even the question, is it even necessary at all? I mean, it feels like it's totally necessary, because otherwise people won't think of you, or won't just know about you. But I ask myself, really, is that an illusion? Is it really true, or is it like just the addiction? The
like, I need to be on it.
Yeah. And right now I feel like I have to be active, and I also want to share my stuff. I want to get in touch, be in touch with my audience and stuff. But but yeah, I don't know. Difficult topic.
It's a tough one, because I'm just bad at it. I wish I was a kind of more natural person to it, but I'm not. Like my sister, she's amazing with it, but I don't know, I'm just not that person. But this way we kind of went off on a tangent, but this is great, because this is that's why I kind of like the free flowing conversations, because you get to talk about like real things that are on your mind. And so thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that, because I think if you're struggling with it, if I'm struggling with it, then I'm pretty sure that people are listening having a hard time with this too. So we're all struggling here. We're all figuring this out. So
it's like, I think we're struggling not only on the side of like, how much do I post, when do I post, that stuff, but also like, how much do I consume? How much do I scroll and waste my time?
Exactly.
It goes hand in hand, I think. To me, it's really hard to, like, if I post a lot, I'm on it a lot more. So that balance is really, I don't know, it's like, if I'm really present, that's the only, then I post something and then I just leave it, and then I don't consume. But as soon as you're not really present, and
there's that downward spiral. Totally. Well, Instagram is made to be addictive, right? It's fires up,
be that way.
Exactly. That's why you swipe, because it's like a slot machine, right? So it's basically, with every scroll, you're pulling that slot machine every time, and it refreshes. So basically it's a never ending thing. So it's Instagram and Facebook is specifically designed to keep you on their app as much as possible. And so they have little things in there, like the dinging when I turn that off personally. So I don't get Instagram notifications. And the best thing is, this is what I've noticed, if you go on Instagram on your desktop, you don't get any commercials, you don't get any ads. No ads, because they're
you're right. The thing is, you can't really post on the desktop.
There's a little hack.
Messages and stuff.
Yeah. So when I message people and stuff like that, because I know I have this really squirrel brain and I get distracted super fast. So within like 10 seconds, I'll be watching YouTube videos I shouldn't be watching and post like stuff like that. And I'll click on an ad or something, you know. So I have to make sure that everything is as many distractions that I can get out of the way, the better. So that's definitely, so that was a good tip for me. But I found a hack around at least being able to post pictures on Instagram from your desktop. So
yeah, I heard someone say that too. But yeah, I guess if I Google it, I'll find it out.
Yeah, I'll send you a link. I'll look it up and I'll send you the link because there's a video on that. That's how I found out about it. But yeah, anyways, if anyone has any advice on how to deal with social media as a musician, let us know, because we're all just figuring this out together. But to circle back to you know, this kind of what do you call, like signed, not signed, like indie experience. I love that you have like your debut album that came out in 2018. It has like 13 tracks on it. It's really cool. It's like a jazz album. It's like a chill lounge vibe. Really cool. So I can't wait to kind of see what you're doing with this new album that you're putting out completely independently. And like you said, you know, the upside is you have all the freedom in the world. The downside is you have all the freedom in the world. Like,
that's really good. You did sum it up really good right there.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, good news is you're your own boss. Bad news is you're your own boss. So nobody can tell you it's so that, you know, that I think that just sums up us up as independent artists really nicely. But let us, what can you tell us about the album? Because I'm like on my toes. I can't wait to, you know what's happening. Is there anything you can tell us about the new album coming out?
Yeah, so the album is gonna be about change. I found that the last couple of years, especially, of course, I mean, I started to work on the album before Corona, but especially during that time right now, up until now, and probably more in the future, there's an especially big change happening in my experience, at least. People are really questioning what are their priorities. Also, I think the social media thing is a big part of all of that. I think, because it's like the way in which people see social media changes. Even if we don't, if we can't get off of it entirely, it still changes, and it's not that naive anymore. Feels to me like that. Also, that change goes in a direction of more awareness, in my view, at least. People, I also can't stop saying people, because mostly I'm talking about myself and the people around me, but I don't know about the rest of all, and so on. But you know, all these questions that are here in our society right now do something with us. And for me, that's just, it feels like everybody's getting more aware, more conscious. For example, more conscious about what's the worth of, you know, interaction with people, with real people.
For sure.
And first of all, about the connection to oneself. Like the highest place of yourself you can actually get in touch with. That's direction I see the change going in.
Mm-hmm.
And on the album are a lot of songs that are talking about, or in which I'm talking about these kind of things. It's a lot about getting back to the source, getting back to the most important things. Yeah, taking a moment.
Mm-hmm. Like pause sometimes, I think.
Pause.
Yeah.
And question.
Yeah, we're going like a bazillion miles an hour, it feels like. I think through the internet and stuff, like everything's speeding up, you know. Now you can push a button and you can send someone an email and immediately get a response, right? You can send a WhatsApp or an Instagram message or whatnot, right? Like you have instant access to people, right? And in one, you know, it's a good thing, but it also can be that's why we get a lot of burnouts and people like being drained, and you know, because you're like, it's too fast, like everything, it feels like everything is evolving so fast and we can't keep up, or if we try to keep up, we ruin ourselves and we kind of sacrifice ourselves to kind of keep up with that.
Totally. And at the same time, it feels kind of hollow because it's not the real thing. It's just so many obligations and like also so many conversations, but not with real persons.
Yeah.
But on some cyberspace, and it's not what we as humans actually need to be fulfilled. That's what it feels like to me. And it sounds so simple to slow down, but it's really difficult.
It's really hard. Yeah, because that's what I'm trying. That was like the goal for me for 2021 is like slow down, pull the brakes. Like, and it's really hard because what I've learned personally is slowing down means setting boundaries. And I know it doesn't sound sexy and it doesn't sound like a cool thing to do, but that's the thing, is like, that's why I turn off all notifications I don't have the Facebook app on my phone. I'm rarely on Facebook. I'm only in there for like groups and stuff. I turn off notifications for Instagram. I don't have any other apps on my phone that ding or whatnot. All the notifications are turned off, and I have a planner now that I'm building out that is like a time planner. So it's not a to-do list, but I'm canceling out time. And I say, in this time, I'm going to give myself 15 minutes for emails, and I'll reply to all the emails. I'm going to give myself 10 minutes on WhatsApp, and I'm going to reply to all the people on WhatsApp and stuff like that. And then I set a timer because, again, I'll get distracted. I know myself. And so I need to set boundaries also for my friends. I'm like, I do not respond at 10 o'clock at night unless it's like Notfall.
Emergency.
Thank you. Right. I'm like, and then please call me. Like this is what I learned for 2021. If you want to slow down, you actually need to set boundaries, because if we don't, people are going to email you at midnight. They're going to WhatsApp you at 1 a.m. They're going to just roll all over you. That's at least what I've learned. I know it doesn't sound sexy and doesn't sound like the cool thing to do, but it works.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, I think what you just said there, I guess that everybody who listens right now can feel that. And it's actually, I don't know if it sounds sexy or not, but it's really, I think people feel you when you say that. I certainly do. I also turned off my all my notifications, and I also try to, you know, there's so many different ways of like building routines and stuff. And I tried some different, you know, what's the word for that, concepts. But I have a lot of respect for you that it works when you say like 15 minutes for emails. When I do that,
sometimes, like, most of the time,
but for me it's really difficult to then like just stop at this point. That's the most difficult thing for me. But yeah, I mean, slowing down in general. circling back to that authenticity thing,
Yeah.
I think when you're slowing down is getting more authentic, because time alone is where you get a feeling of who you really are, what your needs are,
Yeah.
and also being in the center is a totally different space of possibilities.
Yeah.
And then make music from, or create things from, or talk from. And yeah, to me that's crucial, to have that space, like to feel myself, basically.
Yeah. I mean, like whatever your time is, like for me, I don't get so many emails, so I can do it in like 15 minutes and I set a timer. But for someone, if you get a ton of emails, give yourself 20 minutes, 25 minutes, like whatever that looks for you, right? But I love again, like being I'm very selective of who I follow on Instagram, again because of time, and I make sure I'm surrounding myself with the right people. And so that's why I like to follow your Instagram account, because you actually share a lot of value and insights. And one is, since we're talking about being centered, you actually talk about being rooted a lot, and you explain rooted as being balanced, thus motivated, and in the creative power, which I thought was very interesting. I think it kind of really sums up very nicely what you just said, right?
Yeah, it's such a big difference. I think everybody knows that feeling when you're constantly running around and like, not in a calm, centered space. And then the ideas get so much weaker, and there's so much less satisfaction. Just basic, the base level of the baseline of how good you feel actually changes. That's my experience. That's dependent on how rooted I am. And to be rooted or balanced, or whatever you might call it, to me is when I have space with no obligations at all. Meditation maybe, but also not even meditation, like just, I mean, I do meditate. That's really important for me to do it. But also I need that time where I can just do, I don't know, something totally useless. You know, and it's okay.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's okay.
I don't know if you want to call it inner child.
Yeah.
Or if people can, if somebody can connect with that, but it feels like, okay, my inner child needs some space just to express itself, and it can't be productive all the time. Otherwise, it's gonna scream and shout and do and don't do anything anymore. Yeah, that's a super. That's an explosion if it's like too much suppressed.
I think that's important. I think that's an important point, to really just again kind of bringing it down to the slowing down, but also just like pausing, turn everything out, like turn off, like we do that because my husband, he likes to cook, right? And so we'll have Bayern Eins, you'll probably know the channel, but we'll have that on, and they play really good music during the night, like nighttime, like after like 6-7 o'clock, and we'll just dance. Like neither of us, one of us can dance, but we just
that's amazing.
Fun. Yeah, but it's just nice to kind of break out of that. Okay, we love this song, let's just shake our booty, right? Just be ridiculous. Nobody's watching, nobody cares, right? But we're just having a blast. And I think those moments are just important, either if they're alone with yourself or with your friends or whatnot, just to be present and just be like, you know what, I'm gonna turn everything off, and for the one song, that's my moment. Or for even turn off music, just sit there with your thoughts, and just be like, okay, whatever it is, if you need to meditate, if you need to read a book, like whatever that is, whatever that pause button looks like for you, do it. And even if it's 3, 4, 5 minutes, doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, it's it has to be a lot of time sometimes. Like I need
Depends, yeah, for sure.
you know, a couple of hours, a whole evening, nothing at all, like just nothing I have to do of any sort. That's really important. That is like not just 5 minutes. Of course 5 minutes can be really helpful, but like
those are like little quick moments in between, but definitely,
yes, definitely, as an addition.
That's our Sunday. Like our Sunday is we don't do anything. We're not, that's like my
amazing. I don't have that. I don't do an off day per se. Actually, that's a really cool idea to just do it, but it's, for me, oftentimes it's not possible to have like just one whole day, because I mean, a regular day, it's not possible, because then it gets interrupted from time to time. So my strategy is to just do my thing, and then when I realize I need a pause, I try to give myself that pause. But also I have to say, I struggle with that as well. So it's not that I give myself or I have the possibility to give myself the break that I need in that moment. But then something's really urgent, and then I have to do that first, and then I have the break, and that's a little bit too late. And then something in my inside of me is screaming already. So
like, I need off time.
Totally. So it's really
well, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy, that's for sure. Like that's, I don't know, like that's the, like, circumstances change, you know. Obviously when I was single, I had different ways to cope with this than when I'm now married, and in a couple of months having a baby, and you know, it's always gonna change. Just because it works now for me doesn't mean it's gonna work in a year from now. Or so that's the thing, is like, as soon as you figure it out, it changes. And my mom says experience is what you get once you don't need it anymore.
That's really nice. That's really cool.
So like once you figured it out and you know what you're doing, things change again, and you have to figure it all out like from the beginning. So it, you know, it's an ever learning beauty of progress.
But recently I had a thought, or it was a feeling rather, about like what balance is, because to me it was so clear in that moment that balance is not something static, like a point that you have to find, and then this is the perfect balance. It's a constant moving process. It's always in motion, and it's like it's always I think I used that image of a tightrope, because that's what it feels to me. Like, on a tightrope, you have to balance. You have to, you know, to balance all the time, and it's always moving, and it's shaking underneath the feet, and and
then you fall over, and then you get it back up again, and then you balance a little bit, and then you know, that's just, you know, how life is. But that's why I'm so excited for the album, because you really talk about what's on your mind. Like obviously we all kind of do that to some degree, but like really just things I usually wouldn't hear someone talk about, right? And I think that reflects in this conversation. It reflects on your Instagram. It reflects the energy around you as well. Because I think I personally, as a songwriter, I'm, you know, everyone has different opinions about this, but I'm a lyric person, so I listen to the lyrics. And so when I hear someone talk about something that's different, that's not about a breakup or falling in love or what all the classics are, but if it's different, I'm like, ooh, this is nice. Right, this is refreshing. And that's why I try to bring people on here that do exactly that. And obviously you're one of those people where I'm like, nice. Not is this amazing music that makes you want to dance, you know, but it's also has a good, you know, message behind that. And I love that, like feminine energy, right? It's just, it's so catchy. Like that hook is just in my head, like feminine energy, right? So when I have low energy, and I need to boost that, I play that song and I'm like, and then I feel good. I'm like, okay, cool, now I can get back to work, right? That's like my 3 to 4 minutes. I think it's like 3.5 minutes. That's like my energy boost, right? So just real quick, because I don't know what you're allowed to talk about the album or not, but you know, Feminine Energy and High Life, they're just one of my favorite songs. Not to be biased or anything, but because the lyrics, they're just so great and just highlight different topics that I usually wouldn't hear. So how do you pick the top? Do you actually pick them, or do they just come out? And how is the writing process and the production process behind that?
It's always different, of course, but that's what everybody would say.
Yeah, that's music.
I would say most of the time, the music is first, and I get a feeling of what, like, that vibe gives me some kind of vibe on my mind, you know. I don't know, the sound itself brings up some topic for me. And then I have, for example, Feminine Energy. That beat, I love the beat, and it felt like there's something flowery going on there. It's like, it's rough, but at the same time there's something really light going on.
She's the mother, the source, the yearning, the force, the passion, the hope, feminine glow, fiery laughter, you can't ever grasp her, endless flow of devotion. She's dancing. Hey, hey, hey. Feminine energy. Femininity.
Well, it has that really funky guitar part in it. I think that, like, you open up with that funk guitar part.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm immediately like, oh, what is this? And that's what makes it kind of like, ooh, okay, nice. I like this.
And, you know, the vibe of the song to me felt like when a woman is dancing, like really light and really I don't know, as if nobody was watching.
Yeah. And
then to me it was like, wow, how could I actually, what's actually the feminine energy? How would I describe that? Because that's exactly the energy that I feel on that song.
Totally.
And that's how that topic came about. That's actually, most of the time it's like I just said, like the music gives me some kind of a vibe, and then I try to find the words to describe what I'm feeling right there. And of course, my views and my insights drip into that. Like especially my insights, like when I have an insight about something about myself or about whatever, then the next song I'm creating is always this insight could be part of the lyrics then, because it's just on my mind in that moment. If it fits the vibe of the music, of course. To me it's really important to just add some kind of value. Like the music itself is a value, of course, but I want to add some kind of value. And if I just talk about my own relationships, that can be a value too. That, I mean,
no, totally. I'm not trying to downplay that. I think there's just a lot out there, a lot of content.
I agree 100%, because I can't hear it anymore as well sometimes. But it's really important. But I wanted to add something different.
Yeah.
Most of the times.
Yeah.
To give something that's not already out there.
Mhm.
You know, that's actually my thought behind it.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I don't really construct topics. It's just like I try to find what's the topic that wants to be expressed by that song. It's also my producing process is like that as well. I start with something, with a beat, for example, or with a chord, or with a riff, and then I try to listen to what the song needs in that moment, at that part, or whatever. And it doesn't feel like I'm creating something with my mind, or you know, it doesn't feel like that. It just feels like, okay, I am the vehicle, kind of, that music uses to get itself expressed.
No, well, that's a beautiful analogy. That's beautiful.
And that can be exhausting sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
It feels like, and sometimes I feel like, okay, I devote myself to that, but at certain points I have to really not, how can I say that? I'm the one who's doing the song in that moment. But at the same time, I have to be totally invisible. As my personality, I have to be totally invisible, because if there's something in me that would say like, nah, I don't want to do this now, it's so exhausting, blah blah blah, I want to do something else, you know. But that's the exact point where I have to stay on it, and then some really good ideas pop up. And if I wouldn't suppress that, how can I sum that up? It's like self-sacrificing component that's in there, like almost self-destructive sometimes. But for this purpose of like expressing what needs to be expressed, it's
kind of like move out of the way. I think music is all about me and my emotions and what I'm feeling, and it's all me, and the way you're describing it is actually removing yourself from the equation and just being like you said, like the vehicle, and kind of getting out of the way so that can be expressed, right? That's kind of how I would.
Thank you. That was really what I meant. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, because I just love that question, because even though everyone says, oh, there's no same way of writing a song, it's true, but I think we all, to extent, have a certain routine in there,
right, actually,
different for every person. It's very interesting. Like, I almost always ask this question with every songwriter, and it's always been different. Every artist gave me a different answer, and I'm like, okay, how many ways are there to write a song, right? You would think there are only a few ways, but so far I've interviewed over 40 people, and everyone has given me a different answer. It's so interesting.
Wow. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, of course.
But yeah, no, I just I wanted to acknowledge you for that, because it's a rare trait, and I hope there will be more people out there that are doing that, and I hope that everyone that's listening can see that it is possible, that there are people out there fighting the good fight, that are doing the right things, that are adding value, and are really being true to themselves and authentic, as as far as you want to take it, and you can take it, obviously. Thank you for putting out great music, for great lyrics, and just being human, just being you, and just
thanks so much.
I just really, from the bottom of my heart, I just want to thank you for that. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I'm actually really grateful for being able to make that journey. There are moments again and again. For example, like 3 days ago, yesterday, as I told you, I had 2 video shoots, and there was a lot of planning going on, and I was at a point a couple of days ago, 3 days ago or so, where I was so annoyed. I was like, this is the I don't know. I couldn't find words to express how bad I felt, and how pissed off actually, and you know, all these feelings that you don't want to feel. These moments pop up again and again, and these are the most valuable in retrospect, always, to me. And for me, the biggest not challenge, that sounds so negative, chance to learn actually is to be aware in these moments, and to not go into the negative things too deeply, like to keep a distance where you can see, okay, all this stuff is going on, but I can still be happy. So what did I actually want to say when I started this? That's so, to go through these moments and ups and downs and so on, is inevitable if you're just an artist and just want to be authentic, I guess. And I'm so grateful for that, because that teaches me so much all the time. It feels like discovering the world new, in new ways all the time. And I want to share as much as possible of this. And at the same time, as I said earlier, with the removing yourself from the music, that's what I'm trying to do, or that's what I feel I have to do. It's then difficult to find how I want to present myself as an artist, Then if I try to remove myself from the music, who am I then?
Who am I without music? Yep.
So how can I? What should I do?
It's going down that rabbit hole of like self-identity and like, who am I without music? Because we like identify ourselves with the music instead of using it as an expression of who we are. And I think because I went through that crisis like 3 years ago, and I'm like, I kind of removed music. I had depression and everything, and so because I didn't do music, and I'm like, who am I without it? Because I'm like, if I'm not the singer-songwriter, if I'm not the musician, if I'm not the performer, if I'm not the producer, then who am I, right? And we take this music and we use it as our identity, right? I'm a singer-songwriter, I'm the doctor, I'm the lawyer, I'm whatever that is that you use to identify yourself with. Once you remove it, we kind of go in this crisis, because I'm like, who am I without this? But really, music is just an expression of who you are. There's a reason why you gravitated towards that songwriting tool, that production tool, that wanting to help people by wanting to cure cancer tool, like, stuff like that. That's where I kind of had to shift, is like, no, I'm not Alise, the singer-songwriter. I'm Alise, and I'm enough, and whatever that is. And if I choose to express myself through other things, that's cool. Like, I don't know, I went through that crisis, and it's like, it's hard, right?
But it's so valuable, right? It's like
totally
it's so liberating.
You need, when you're in that pitfall, when you're in that hellhole, it's not fun, it's not great, and you want to get out of it as soon as possible, but that's where you grow the most, that's where you learn the most. And now looking back, I'm grateful for that. At the time,
that's the point.
definitely not. Definitely wasn't.
exactly the point. And then next time you go into a hellhole,
Yeah.
you will have more tools to
Exactly.
deal with it.
Yeah.
And that, to me, that feels like such a privilege, actually, to have that,
Yeah.
to have the biggest tool of all is to be able to reflect on that and to use that to grow.
Totally.
Because I've seen people, or I see people, in Berlin, you see so many people on the upward spiral, and there's just no way they would have to have a major epiphany in terms of, whoa, I can decide for my own how I'm going to use experiences to grow, or I feel as a victim. But that's such a big insight to know that. And if somebody doesn't have that insight, it's so difficult to deal with things. So I don't know. I think we had to tell everybody about that, and
yes,
point
them in the right direction. Well, that's funny that you're saying that, because I'm actually putting together an online course that talks exactly about that, because that's what I realized, again, from going to being depressed to actually being really happy in my life. And music was part of that, but there's something that I figured just out recently, and that's exactly what you just said. And I call it the poop cycle, not because of your bowel movement, but because of how to dig yourself out of crappy situations faster and to be happy despite whatever is going on into your life. My life is in no way perfect. My life, there's a lot going on right now, but I am happy. Like, I am really down to my roots. I'm happy. Doesn't matter what's going on around me. I can be happy right now. And that's why I always say happiness is a choice. It's not a destination. It's not something that just happens and falls into your lap. It's something you need to create now. And so I didn't know I knew this until I was like brainstorming, and I had all my whiteboards out and was drawing out everything. And I'm like, people need to know this. Like, they don't understand, because a lot of people see problems and challenges as a negative, or as a punishment, almost like, oh, why do bad things happen to good people? And I'm like, that's called life, and you need to learn out of those. And the faster, if you know this poop cycle, then you'll get out of those bad situations faster. So the next time when you're in that position, which it will happen, that's just life, you'll have more crap going on in your life. But if you learn from those and take that into the next time it happens, you can get out of it faster, right? That's the thing, is people just stay in that problem cycle years, decades, their entire life, and then they complain why their life is crappy, when really it's a total mindset game. And you need to see that as an opportunity of growth and not as punishment. And you're just saying this just perfectly, right? You're just like, take control of your life. And I've noticed that you have a lot of songs that are about taking control of your life, not playing the victim, right? And that was actually one of my questions, but I didn't think I had time to ask it. But is that going to be a theme in the new album? Like, is that going to be something that's cohesive? Because I've been noticing that a lot throughout your first album and your singles. Because it seems like that's something you're very passionate about, because it's just in there all the time. I've been listening to it. I'm like, this is really cool. Like, she knows her stuff. She knows the good stuff, right?
Yeah, it is a topic that's constant in all of my stuff, I would say. Not only because I want to share that and to give listeners as many possibilities to have an insight as possible,
Yeah.
I try to make it obvious, but I try to make it obvious in a way that's still poetic, that's sometimes like to be clear, but still like in an elegant way.
It's not in your face. You're like, oh, you should be taking control of your life. Right?
Not that way. So
yeah, exactly.
I try to get people to have an insight on their own,
like
without
their own
telling
moment.
like just yeah, that would be my goal actually.
Yeah.
But not only from that aspect is this a topic in my music, but also because it's just a constant reminder for myself. Sometimes
Sure.
I had that a couple of times with 2 or 3 songs that I finished and that I already put out.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, I listen to it and I think, oh, now I understand what I wrote back then. Like
Yeah.
now I understand it. It's so funny.
Well, that's like, it is kind of a note to ourselves, right? It's kind of like, oh, just because you knew it then doesn't mean, like, we're constantly learning, so you're forgetting about what you already know, right? And so it's you know,
yeah, it
capsule.
feels like a spiral. It feels like a spiral. You get to the same points in life over and over again, but you can, like, it's like the poop cycle.
Yeah. Exactly.
But you go up a little bit every time you go at the same spot again.
Yeah.
So you create that upward spiral. Yeah, and in my album, yeah, it's always difficult for me to describe it in a couple of words, but the change is connected to this insight that we have control more than we think sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's what that's the vibe that goes into the whole album on every song.
Oh,
yeah, and I'm really excited.
I can't wait.
Excited out there because it feels like, okay, it's much more up to date than my first album, which is, of course, it's 3 years old already. And now I feel like the time has come to, like, give an update on what my sound is like at the moment. It needs to happen. I want to share that. No, I can't wait. Like, I literally, because I know the date kind of always moves, but can you tell us maybe how many tracks are on there, or a name, or is there anything that you can share? Anything, any little details? I can share that there will be 2 singles. Okay. Which the video shoots we had yesterday was 4, like, for the 2. And then on the album will be 12 tracks. 12. Okay. No. Yeah, 12. Yes. No. Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe I'll change. No, I'm still so deeply in that process. First there were like 13, but then I decided to put one out later, like 4 weeks later, as a remake of one of the songs. Okay. And now 12 songs, but I'm still so much in that process, in all that, like, how am I going to do it, like this way or this way, or all the decisions that go into finishing something like that. I'm still in that whole process, so I'm still, like, all over the place. And that's totally fine. That's just the creative process of how things go. That's okay. So 12 songs, that's at least something that we got out of you. I can say it will be out in November for sure. Okay, that's a long time. The latest, the very, very latest. Is there gonna be new merch coming out with this album? I'm still figuring out how to make that real, because now with Corona it's all a little bit more complicated to plan things and to get the fundings and all that stuff. But I definitely want to have new merch. Okay, because I wanted to buy a sweater and there was only one left, and it's like in large or something, so I'm like, oh no. Yeah, that's a bummer. So I want merch, but it's all sold out, which is great for you. There are 2 left, but they're both in large. Yeah.
Well, I could fit in it now with my big baby. But
oh yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's only gonna be for like another 3 months, so it's
yeah.
I want to wear it longer than just for 3 months.
No, I'm really working on that. I want to have new merch, definitely. I love that. Yeah, so it's actually funny that we do this interview right now. We postponed it already, and it's like the whole process is like, yeah, moving back in time, and like not back in time, but like it's later and later and later. But and I thought once we do this interview, I would have all the dates, and like I could tell, yeah, the album will be out on blah blah blah. But still, like, it's still not at the point that I can say the date. Yeah.
That's okay. I'll take what I get. But yeah, either way, I just want to thank you for taking the time, and because it's a huge chunk out of your time, out of your busy schedule. So I just want to thank you really for being here and talking with me and geeking out about music, and really opening up and letting us be part of your creative journey, and also what's going on in your mind. And I just again just want to say thank you, and just keep doing what you're doing, because I love it. I really enjoy it.
It was a pleasure to talk with you.
For my last question that I always have, that I like to ask, is what makes a good song for you?
That's such a good question.
That's why I keep it last.
A good song to me consists of two components. One is the lyrics. I love if something gives me food for thought, or triggers some emotion, and like I need something that I can vibe with, that hits something in me.
Yeah.
And then the music, I'm always searching for that unexpected thing. It can be a certain sound, like just the sound of a loop that's going on, and that sounds so special that it creates a special vibe or something. Or it can be the way the chords are arranged, or I mean the chords follow along with each other, and you know what I mean? I didn't get
like
it right.
The chord progression.
Yes. The chord progression, that could be the unexpected thing, or the arrangement. So if there's something that gives me chills, then that's what I'm for.
Then you got it. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. Where can people find you? Where can they check you out? I know you have is it a festival coming up or something? The jazz, is it X Jazz, or how do you pronounce it?
It's X Jazz. It's on August 29, so it's next Sunday. And then we have a couple more shows. It's in Nuremberg. There's one show end of October. When is that? I think it was October 29th. And then there's another show in Frankfurt, and it's on October 21st. 21st. And then there's a couple of other things, but these are the main things that will be coming up. And I will have that on my website leonaberlin.com. Also, I post everything on social media. So on Facebook, just Leona Berlin. On Instagram, Leona Berlin. That's where you can find me. Yeah.
All the social media that we love so much. So everything is Yeah, so everything is Leona Berlin. I didn't have any trouble finding you. It's just all. I'll also link everything up below so people can find you. And yeah, so they will have no trouble finding you. So everything will be linked up in the description box down below. So it's just at Leona Berlin on pretty much all the platforms, the main ones anyway. Yeah, and then we can't wait to hear more music.
Yeah, I can't wait to release it. Yeah, so excited.
Thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for listening to the Musician Secrets podcast. I appreciate your time because you could literally be doing a bazillion other things right now, but you're here with me, so thank you. If you want, you can scroll all the way to the bottom and leave a comment on how you're liking the podcast, what you've learned, and things you've even implemented that have helped you out. As a little thank you, I put together a free members area with all my best resources, books, podcasts, and online courses about everything you need to know as an independent musician, from producing to songwriting to marketing to building a home studio, all the good stuff. All you have to do is either click the link below or go to alisekoa.com/free. I'll see you on the other side. Bye!
She's unstoppable, optimistic ruler. Feminine energy.